What's up, YouTube? This is Alex Winkink Michael. Here's what we got today. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Blizzard Activision is at it again, back in the news. This time maybe a positive, but I'm kind of doubting it. I'm pretty sure this is probably not going to be well received by the community. But as a lot of you may have heard, as of a few hours ago, maybe a little longer ago than that, we have ourselves a new update for Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Obviously, this is it the first of the Season Pass DLCs? I don't know. But it's the Grand Heist event, Operation Grand Heist. It brings about a ton of changes. The timing is absolutely impeccable, as Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is getting absolutely destroyed by Fortnite and, of course, Apex Legends right now. So I believe that they have really packed this one full of stuff. I've seen a lot of details as far as the zombies mode, the new maps, all kinds of stuff. But the one topic that kind of got snuck in there that I think has most people's interest, I would say, peaked a little bit, is the loot boxes being introduced. Now, loot boxes have been in Call of Duty before, and they are not always at launch, I don't believe. I think they've introduced them at different intervals during the life cycle of a Call of Duty game. But to me, looking at this, it kind of looks like a little bit of a desperation move in some capacity. I mean, obviously, I think people at Blizzard Activision, Treyarch, I think they all recognize that there's a lot of competition in the Battle Royale arena right now. And they had to do something to kind of get the excitement, or at least something back, the attention, whatever, back to Call of Duty, to Black Ops 4. And they came out with this announcement. This is a very large content update for this game, not like normal. I mean, they've tweaked a lot of different things in this. And I got to tell you, it's interesting because I don't think, obviously, that the loot boxes are going to be perceived very well. We're going to get to an article here in a minute that kind of shows what they are, what they're planning to do with them right now. Obviously, that's going to change. But on the outside looking in, this looks like a desperation move. They're obviously getting destroyed. Their game came out of the gate roaring with Steam. I mean, they paid streamers a ton of money on Twitch to try to promote this thing. It was actually gaining some traction with Blackout mode. It had a lot of success coming out of the gate. I mean, it was going toe-to-toe with Fortnite for a little bit, and then Fortnite kind of started to pull away again. It's interesting to see that we now have this giant content update coming out, and they're really pushing this thing for them to gain anything they can. And Fortnite when Fortnite roared back, I think the player base dropped pretty substantially, and then Apex Legends, I think, kind of put the nail in the coffin on this thing. They made a couple of interesting moves that a lot of the competitive players didn't like over the last few months, with the flashbangs and the stuttering, and I've seen a lot of different things about that. It seems like the tournaments, the streamable tournaments, just died. I mean, those things were getting a ton of views for them and a lot of attention, a lot of marketing, a lot of good stuff came out of that, and they just kind of went away. And I'm not really sure why that is, or if they just said, we're good, we'll sustain with what we have. But here we are, and, February, and this thing's got to do something, because I'm sure that it has taken an absolute beating. These games are AAA titles. They're massive. They cost a ton of money, Hollywood movie money, to produce and make. So something had to be done for this thing. So let's take a look at this article, just kind of detailing the loot boxes. And this is by Video Games 24/7, VG247.com. And it just goes on to say, basically, Call of Duty's Black Ops 4's next big content drop, Operation Grand Heist, brings loot boxes back to the series. And he says, they never technically left. The timing of arrival is different. What's really interesting is he says, the same concept was also present in Black Ops 3, but their implementation in that game soured a lot of people on it. The reason being that supply drops contain new weapons and with different stats, not just cosmetics, which made it incredibly hard for players to get the weapon they wanted later in the game's life cycle. This time they're called cases. They're arriving as part of the Operation Grand Heist update. Drops on the PS4 today, other platforms next week. Here's the thing. They do say that the cases are cosmetic only right now. That's more than likely going to change. It depends on the sales of these things, to be honest with you. Here's what we're dealing with. This is an obvious revenue grab on a game that they don't have a lot of other ways to get revenue. Here's the problem with the community. They spent $60 to get this game. You know, obviously some more with the collector's editions. They spent $50 on the season pass. So they've got a lot of money wrapped up into a game that really only has a 1-year life cycle. If you really look at this thing, I mean, a new Call of Duty comes out every year. This thing is not built to last. The Call of Duty games are not built to last. Now, I know there's some exceptions to that. Modern Warfare 2 had a great life cycle post, year one, and maybe some other ones did. But really and truly, a majority of the player base moves on to the next Call of Duty or the next best shooter. But I'm a numbers guy. I'm a company man, so I got to look at it from both ways. Looking at this from the Activision, standpoint, I don't really know that I disagree too much with this. I think you have to do something. You have to. You have to do something because here it is February. Your game came out in, October, November, I believe? And it's already, dead. So you got to do something. If you have a small player base or there's got to be at least a good amount of people still playing this game. Unfortunately, looking at this as a company, you got to squeeze everything you can out of these dedicated players. So that's what's happening here. They're seeing that they have a dwindling player base on this game. It costs a fortune to make. It's probably not up to the same standards as the other Call of Duties are in terms of revenue. It's probably in no way going to hit its yearly goal for 2019, that is. I can't imagine it will. Maybe if it just, because it did come roaring out of the gate, but in 2019, they obviously have some projections for it, and I believe it's probably fallen short, which is why we have this massive content update and these loot boxes. So I completely understand where they're coming from and what the idea is. I get that, but as someone like me who tends to kind of lean toward the reason of a company, this one's a tough one. I mean, you just fired 800 employees. You didn't really do anything structure-wise. Now, I'm excited to see that they had some job openings for devs and things like that. When it comes to the plan here, what is the quarter 2 plan? I just am not seeing anything come together. This just seems like, hey, we've got to do something here to generate revenue, to put money on the bottom line. But I think there's a lot of other ways you could do that. And right now, when you've got such a bad taste in everyone's mouth about kind of how you've conducted your business over the last 3 months, this one's tough to swallow too. So from a PR standpoint, they're just going to take another beating on this. The other problem is you've got a ton of content packed in this update, but most people, I should say, have already paid for this. They paid the $50 for the season pass. Now, if you really and truly think that because you're adding so much content that you're going to get your player base back, I think that's a little bit far-fetched, to say the least. You've got to really examine your competition in this instance and say, I'm up against an absolute truck here that is running over me. What do I do? Do I lay down and then sit up and let the truck hit me in the face? Or do I just get the hell out of the way? And at this point, I say you get the hell out of the way. You continue to support the game, obviously, but you really need to pour more resources into this year's Call of Duty that's coming out over the holidays. You just can't go backwards. That's the biggest thing here. This is a tough one because I'm not going to go back and play Call of Duty. I know I'm not going to. This doesn't give me enough excitement to pop it back in and download this content. I mean, with Apex Legends being so good, I'm really liking Anthem. I mean, I know I'm probably in the minority on that, but the more I play Anthem, the more I like it. But I think there's better games out there. There's better Battle Royale games out there. So I don't know. I don't have all the answers. I always tell you, I don't claim to be the expert, but this one is a little bit baffling. And I've seen them taking a little bit of heat already on it. But I hope that they do get the ship righted. I'm a big fan of Blizzard. maybe not so much Activision. But I do hope they get the ship righted. I do hope they start doing the right thing, maybe start supporting their community and kind of going from there. But, let me know what you all think. I really don't know how to take this. I'd be interested to hear, hey, well, this is good, this is bad. Am I wrong about Call of Duty? I mean, is the fan base just roaring? I don't think it is, but let me know in the comments below what you all think. And I just want to tell you guys again, thank you all so much for the support, the subscribers, the views. I'm just continue to be just blown away by the amount of traction this thing's gaining. So please continue to do that. Like, subscribe this video, whatever you think. Just let me know. I sincerely appreciate everything. So with all that being said, guys, I will see you on the next one.